Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Wellness Blueprints. I'm Jess Milner. I'm so glad you're here to nourish your roots with me. It is Halloween week. So it's a scary week, if you will. So I thought it would be a really good time to talk a little bit about fear. This time of year, lots of people are looking for a scare. And, that's all fine and great, gives you an adrenaline rush. Lots of people really like that. Other people are very off put by that and they don't like being scared. And that's okay. Things are all in fun. It gets your adrenaline running, it releases dopamine, it can be very fun. Um, so I'm not really like talking about just like, that kind of fun fear, if you will, fear for sports or whatever it might be. But when you really kind of think about it, what is it like how much of your belief system, how much of your life and your decisions are you basing on fear, and maybe not even fear that you're even realizing is there. It's a more deep-seated fear that's really just down at your core. It's one of those core wounds. It's affecting the root chakra. So how deep does your fear go? What beliefs do you have that are based on fear? Okay, maybe beliefs about the government or the weather or religion, or natural disasters, or even your health and your food habits. Sometimes people develop fears of certain kinds of food. I can probably even say that for a while, I was terrified of foods that might have artificial additives, or like there were ingredients that may or may not have been in food that actually I wouldn't have at the time said, yes, I'm afraid of that. But it was the whole belief system with it was rooted with this fear that I'm powerless against it if I were to consume it, which is kind of ridiculous because, I was still eating out. So that you weren't going to be able to avoid everything across the board. And I've discussed that a lot throughout different podcasts. So, this is it's coming from a root place there, and get right into like your health and everything. Sometimes people are doing things for their health, and I'm not saying that using preventative measures is a bad thing, because of course, we want to, do things like elderberry syrup and maybe some supplements and different practices during different times of the year to make sure your immune system is nice and strong. Just like I've talked about, stuff that I take with me when I travel to help against like anything that I'm going to be exposed to. There's toxins all over the place, and that's what makes you sick. So, it's not that it's a bad thing to just have those things, but there's a difference between having those and going, okay, well, I'm going to take this, and I believe that I am protected from those things, and actually taking them because it's out of like fear and desperation, because you are so scared that if you don't have it that you're going to somehow be sick. So the thing is, like I just traveled over the weekend and I brought some supplements with me and things like that. But there were certain things, I don't need to get into like specifics, but there were certain things that I was like, oh crap, I didn't bring that with me. And I was like, oh well, but I was like, that's okay. My body knows how to handle everything and I'm going to be totally fine. And I've been home for 2 days now, and that has remained true. I was totally fine. So your belief system has a lot to do with it. And we talked about that last week on our episode here, that your beliefs have more to do with your health than your genes. And so if you are doing things for your health, or for your food habits, which would be health, out of fear and desperation, then that is coming from a place of not only like your fear, you're desperate, but you're also feeling like you're helpless against something. And that can really just filter into everywhere else, and it really it creates wreckage on your physical body as well as your spiritual body. And that's what I'm all about. I gotta tell you about it, right? So this fear, this root wound. So, you always had, we're starting at the root chakra there when we talk about fear. This is going to get into, it's like that core wound that is really going, it's saying like, it's not safe for me to be here. And that's how your nervous system is feeling when you are in a state like this, when you're just like, oh, I can't eat this because I'm afraid of this, or even if you don't say you're afraid, you're like, I can't eat this because this might happen if I eat this. Or I have to make sure that I have all of these things because I'm afraid that the weather is going to do this and this, and like, I'm not saying you can't like be prepared for, I mean, like it's okay to have like extra things around and, be prepared for something. But when you circle your entire life around that, or your entire life around those kind of health fears, then that is going to put your nervous system in the same place. It's not safe for me to be here. Your nervous system doesn't feel safe. So if your nervous system isn't feeling safe, then your vagus nerve is not going to be activated. You're going to be stuck in parasympathetic. You're going to not be resting, even when you're resting. You're not going to be digesting very well. Your gut microbiome is going to be all over the place. Your drainage pathways are not going to be properly open. And then you're not going to be able to heal very well. And of course, the same things are happening on a spiritual, on a bliss body, a vital body level at the same time as these physical things are happening. So, this is coming from a place of, I'm not safe. It's not safe for me to be here. This is deep chaos. This is your nervous system just like is not getting you're not getting all your needs met. So you're sitting there wondering, you're sitting there, you're in lack, you're in scarcity. You feel like a victim and you feel like you don't have enough and you don't believe that you're going to be taken care of. So when this happens, you're completely ungrounded. And your root chakra should be grounded. It's the root, so you're not connected to the earth and it's going to block your instinctual center. Like you're going to ignore your instincts, or you're going to think that something is an instinct when really it's just a fear or desperation there. And then you're not going to be able to connect to your higher self. Everything you need is right inside of you. You're not going to be able to connect to that. And so then, you could have, whatever experiences you're having, you're not going to be able to properly process them. And then this is where we get more emotion code and body code things to work through, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but you're going to have more things because you're not going to fully feel the emotions. They're going to get stuck inside of you somewhere because you're not allowing yourself to fully feel it, or you're not allowing yourself to fully experience an entire experience. And this can be, any kind of experience that you're just not feeling the whole thing, and then that's going to lead to anxiety, which again is I'm not safe, and then it even gets bigger from there. Not only is it not safe to be here, it's not safe to be yourself. It's not safe for anyone to be here. Then you have anxiety and you're like, not only am I not safe here, but no one is safe here. Eek, and it's just like this whole big thing. So, we don't want our nervous system to feel unsafe. Okay. Because like I said, you're not going to truly rest, digest, and heal. Like you'll sleep, but then you'll be like, why is my aura ring like telling me that I didn't sleep well? Or why do I still feel like I haven't slept, even though I slept for 8 hours, So, when you have these fears, it gets, even fun fears, it gets your adrenaline running, get your dopamine running. And there is there is a reason why we have all of these emotions. I mean, they're not bad. They can be negative, but they serve a purpose. I mean, if you suddenly do have like a scary monster, like, I live on a mountain here. So, if I had a mountain lion that came out of the woods and was in my yard, I would be scared and that would be justified. But the difference becomes when you have these stress memories of, I'm not safe, I'm in fear, I'm in desperation. So a situation would present itself in which you are not in like imminent danger necessarily. Like there's not a mountain lion right outside. Maybe it's just something else. Maybe you're, I don't know what one might be worried about. I don't want to like give an example and have people think that I'm like talking about them or something, because everybody has their own opinions on things. But there are certain things that you will feel fear for, but it's not really justified. You think that you should feel fear for that, and you think that what you're feeling is actual fear, but really it's stress memories coming up from something else. Stress memories from this core wound of fear that are really deep, and they're limiting beliefs, and they're filtering into every other area of your life and making you think that you were totally justified at being scared of all these things all the time. Which is probably not somebody's scary Halloween decorations. I'm just saying, but it seemed fitting to talk about fear when, I have this song like stuck in my head all day today, like spooky, scary skeletons. It's just like this adorable little song that's on my Halloween playlist in the car for the kids. A little bit for me, because I enjoy it too. I mean, yeah, we jam out to Monster Mash this time of year, but so when you do feel this fear, it actually does, it releases that adrenaline, which is why it does smack your adrenals when you are stuck in this like I'm not safe, it's not safe for me to be here state, and your nervous system doesn't feel safe. It's going to mess with your adrenals, of course. And the adrenaline runs with that, and even dopamine runs from that. Just like arguing releases dopamine, and that's why you have like people who are like really arrogant or rude or even narcissistic people. they will continue to argue and argue and argue because even though they don't realize it, it's releasing dopamine. It's releasing a chemical that makes them want more of it, even though it's a negative thing that they're doing. So, um, so what I want to remind everybody to do, okay, because like I said, there are times when it is completely justified to fearful, to feel fearful, okay? It is a necessary emotion. All of our emotions have a time and a place. All of our emotions are necessary at certain times. But sometimes we misunderstand whether or not this is a time that we actually need to feel that way versus, we don't really need to feel this way right now. And that is something coming up from underneath that is not allowing us to feel safe in that moment or, think about it logically, remain calm, that sort of thing. So everything is exactly as it should be at any given time. And sometimes that's kind of difficult of a pill to swallow because, you might be looking at the situation in front of you and going, "Psh, dude, are you kidding me? This is not how it's supposed to be right now. I don't like this one bit." And I get you. And it's frustrating. And it's a lot to take in that, like, I get it. There are plenty of times where I'd be like, no, this is not how it was supposed to be, that kind of thing. But you do want to be able to trust that you are safe in your body. We live inside of our body. We are a spirit inside of a body. We are having a human experience here inside of this human body. And we do need to feel safe inside of this human body. And we need to trust that we are safe. So this comes in with I trust that that my body can handle any toxins that's coming at it, and I will not get sick or I won't get so sick that there are major issues. That's a trust that you're safe inside your own body and your body can handle it. Same thing with food. I trust that when I eat this food or I drink this food, drink this drink, that my body will take in what it needs and will safely remove what it does not. I trust my body to do that. I trust that I will continue to live my life in, the best way that I can, possibly making adjustments, if the weather changes in this way, or if the government changes in this way, or, heaven forbid, there's a disaster somewhere. I mean, you have to trust that things are going to continue to go on and be okay because this is all part of feeling safe in your own skin and safe in your own body and your nervous system feeling safe. And then you're going to notice that you're not feeling scared of things as much. There are things, I mean, we're coming into, oh my gosh, what do we 1 week. We are 1 week away from election day. And I know that there are years past that I would have been very scared at the outcome of the election for this and that. And I mean, I'm gonna be very honest with everybody. I have gone back and forth on who I support over all of my voting years. But there was a time when I would have been very scared. Feeling. But really, that's to me. I see that we're being we're just convinced that we are being victimized. And that's coming from a place of fear. That's coming from a place of fear and desperation down at the root. And, I mean, whatever your political affiliation is, I don't mind one bit. That's no problem. However you feel and however you feel strongly about that's excellent. And, I want people to have passion about things that really, light something up in them, especially when they feel like they are truly trying to help the world. And that is wonderful. That's a wonderful sentiment. And I really appreciate that. And I'm grateful for everybody who has all of these opinions. But I do notice that a lot of it seems to be stemming from some sort of fear. If we don't elect this person, this thing may or may not happen, which I am afraid of because it could do this, this, and this to my lifestyle, to my family, to my bank account, whatever the case is. So it really kind of comes from a place like that. So we want to be able to feel safe inside of our own bodies. And, really despite the world, despite the surroundings, even though, like I said, sometimes, yes, you're going to be in immediate danger. I mean, sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, it's coming right for us, and that is something that, yes, you can be afraid of something like that. During fire season out here in the mountains, there are times, I mean, yes, we're watching, we get, alerts, letting us know when things are nearby. There was a fire, not where I live, but a place where we own we have some acreage about 40 minutes south of here. And there was a fire Oh my gosh, within a half a mile of there. And so that was a little scary. I mean, we don't live there, but we have neighbors who do, and we know the people there. And so that was something where it's like, okay, I mean, we weren't like freaking out. We were trying to figure out how we can help, what kind of things we can do. But so there are times when, like, sure, you have a mild amount of fear, and then at that point, it would be a justifiable fear, but at the same time, none of us were like on our knees, like crying and screaming, worried about it. And honestly, none of my neighbors were either, because I was in contact with them, and they were like, nope, we've got a barrier there with the ridge, and it's, I think it's gonna, and they, and everything did turn out to be okay. Um, I I don't think even very many. I'm trying to think if any houses were actually taken. I think it was mostly just fields, which is, losing money for people. But if you don't lose, your dwelling, your home, then there's something to be said about that, because fires, just like floods, hurricanes, you name it, can be absolutely devastating to entire communities. So something like that, like, yeah, you can be fearful in a smart way for those kinds of things. But when you are constantly stuck in this fear, you're, like I said, your nervous system is not happy, but that's going to lead to you being scared of a lot of things, being kind of jumpy. Have you noticed when you're in a certain frame of mind or certain times during your life, just hearing a little bit of a noise, like, when a kid screams across the room and they're just playing with a toy, but you're just, you jump, you, and you breathe in, this being jumpy. And that is really a big sign that your nervous system does not feel safe. If you are, when you hear something, because you're stuck in this fear, which is blocking your intuition, and then everything seems scary. And then you start to get anxious, and you might start to feel insecure or weak, hopeless, and rejected, and then threatened by whatever is coming along. And then that puts you right into your victim mindset. And you cannot excel in, and I mean, you can't excel in your health, in your wealth, and there's so many things in your relationships if you constantly feel like you are being victimized by something. And that's not to say that you haven't been a victim, because yes, you are a victim at some times, things happen, but you don't have to carry that with you. So working through the core wound, the fear, and it's going to be a little bit different for everybody. But it's the same but different for everyone, just like I was saying last week when we were talking more about beliefs, and how it's more about your beliefs than it is about the genes in terms of biology, and what's going on inside of your body. So that's why I'm here. I want you to be able to feel that you have control over your life. So when you are going around and you have this fear that this is going to happen, that's going to happen, and you're running around and you're trying to control every aspect of everything outside of you, it's usually pretty indicative that you do not have control over things inside of you, and that you have that deep chaos. And that is affecting all of your decisions. And then that's going to affect the outcomes with life. It's just going to do that. So that's why I'm here, to help you harness control of your life by uniting spiritual and physical wellness. And so this is just one of the aspects of that. So we talked a little bit about the root chakra and fear, and gives you a little bit of a taste of my upcoming program. So I'm going to be doing a live party online that's going to talk a little bit more about it, and my quantum frequency blueprint that is going to be a big part of that. And I'm very excited to share that with you. So, keep your eyes and ears open for that. I am so glad that you joined me today. Thank you for joining me. This is, uh, oh, what was I just going to say? I don't know, it's gone. But at any rate, thank you so much for joining me today. If you would like to grab my free resource guide, you can go to jess.deeprootedwellnessid.com/resources. If you have an issue, just go ahead and capitalize the R in resources. I'm going to see about getting that taken care of, but for right now. But I would love to see you. It has all of my free PDFs and things in there, and great ways for us to keep in touch. Please leave me a 5-star review if you have not yet already. I am on Apple and Spotify, and I am on YouTube. And you can find me on Facebook and Instagram, LinkedIn, and TikTok. Oh my goodness. I'm all over the place. So join me, say hello. Whenever you find me in a new spot, please let me know that you found me. I'm so glad that you stopped by today. We'll be back next week with another episode of Wellness Blueprints. Thanks so much for stopping by. Have a good one.